Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Street picketing against illegal mining underway in capital city. Civil society organizations demand action from government to halt the destruction of the environment. Meanwhile, National House of Chiefs under pressure to clarify its position on recent calls for a ban on all forms of mining. Also coming up, nearly 100 cargo trucks transporting essential goods and supplies stuck at Paga border in Upper East region. Why? Details shortly. And much later on the program, freight forwarders, clearing agents and allied unions hit the street in protest against exploitative practices at the Tema port. We'll be live there. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, let's start off from here. Civil society organizations in environment are picketing to draw the attention to illegal mining menace and demand urgent governmental action to halt it. Several volunteers have taken vantage points and intersections across the capital city, Accra, as they pile pressure on duty bearers to take bold steps to stop the pollution of water bodies and destruction of forest reserves. Grace Hamwa-Jiman is monitoring the picketing. Actually, was there earlier and joins us in the studio now. Grace, what can you tell us?
Yes, Beatrice, so I want to describe this picketing as a scattered picketing because unlike the usual one where you see a lot of people gathered with music, dance and all, this one is very quiet. You see individuals along the stretch carrying placards that come with messages and then they're just standing there quietly without the frenzy and all of that. So I spoke to Darrell Boss who told me that they believe there are a lot of ways of carrying their message across to government without all the noise or the frenzy that it comes with. And so they are also exploring that option, but that does not mean that they will not get to the point where they have to do a lot of numbers, the music and dance to put their message across. And let me also add that this picketing is happening across the capital. There are picketers at 4 other intersections: the Fiesta Royal Junction, the Kwame Nkrumah Interchange, Sky Tower Airport intersection where we were, and then the Ridge roundabouts. And their message is simple: they want government to declare a state of emergency when it comes to Galamsey.
Declare a state of emergency when it comes to Galamsey. Thank you very much, Grace Hamwa-Jiman, for bringing us that. And shortly we'll be speaking to Darrell Bosso, the man you just mentioned, to tell us really what's going on and whether or not there's been any reaction even now to this demonstration. But ahead of that, the National House of Chiefs is also under pressure to clarify its position on recent calls for a ban on all forms of mining. The Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey holds the view that the advisory body needs to be quite clear in its stance to encourage citizens to join in the renewed fight against illegal mining. This comes in the wake of President of the House of Chiefs warning of dire consequences should the government heed calls for a blanket ban on mining. Listen to exactly what he said.
You all
know I hate Galamsey. I fight against it. It, however, does not mean that you shouldn't mine. We own the gold. There are good ways of mining. If you make an application, you'll be taught how to correctly mine. Those calling for state of emergency, a ban on mining, are not considering its impact. It will have dire consequences. People can lose their jobs. Do you know how much money we'll lose? We rather need to find effective ways of mining.
State of emergency. Mining. No more sika in every mine. I say, see, you're mine. You're mine, no. Young Paracrana, where you know, you're very own Eddie. Nemum, I was say, your pepper and papa so near the regulated illegal mining. No, mina, a bay mining a fata, and only everywhere, and to mines an idea, your bay, no, yes, yeah, no, women papa and pastor, near.
And you heard that the president of the National House of Chiefs speaking earlier. Now, the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey says the National House of Chiefs has regrettably reinforced and incentivized the rampant and wanton destruction of Ghana's environment and the Commonwealth bequeathed to us by our forebears. The coalition accordingly calls on the National House of Chiefs to clarify its position on the specific question of Galamsey. Let me just read a little bit of that statement the coalition issued earlier today. It says the coalition is not, and that's the third paragraph of the statement. It says the coalition is not unaware that some chiefs have been complicit in the ongoing poisoning of water bodies and destruction of farmlands in the name of Galamsey. The House of Chiefs' seeming opportunistic posture places this body on the wrong side of history as Ghana fights for its very life. We accordingly call on the House of Chiefs to clarify its position on the specific question of Galamsey. As custodians of the customary resources of the various communities, the House has a crucial role to play in protecting these resources from the ravages of illegal mining. We urge them to join more forcefully the forces of opposition to the menace that threatens the very lives of their subjects and those of posterity. We believe that with the right actions, a positive change is not only possible but inevitable. And we're joined by Daryl Bosu. You just heard my colleague Grace Hamuajiman there mentioning him at that protest. And Daryl Boso is Deputy National Director at Rocha Ghana and also member of the coalition. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon to you too, Beatrice. Thank you for having me.
First, just tell us about this picketing awareness campaign, as you prefer to call it, right?
Well, yes, I think today, as part of efforts to sustain the momentum and also to push forward our demands for a state of emergency and for a cessation of all mining activities in our rivers and our forest reserves, we decided to take our message to the street. We know a lot of the people in Accra are very comfortable in their seats. They are actually thinking they are so far away from the issues that is really taking us all by surprise and also damaging our rivers. So we brought the message to them as they commute to work in the morning, as they go back to the offices to sign documentation and all of that. They should be mindful of the impact of whatever they do in their policy offices. And that's why today we met here to engage and also get the message across. So we really distribute ourselves across major intersections where traffic is always very heavy in the morning to get them to understand that our demand of the government declaring a state of emergency is real, and we are going to stay resolute on that. And therefore, we are going to stand with organized labor and other civil society and professional bodies to ensure that the right thing is done.
So we just heard our reporter Grace Hamuajiman telling us that this is more of a scattered protest than an organized one where you see all people at the same place. Is that the strategy?
Well, the idea is to cover as many grounds as we can, and it's also very organized. The people, the deployment, everything is very organized. It's not to say that others also picketing and coming in numbers with music and all of that is also a bad strategy. We're actually in solidarity for advocacy. You can use several strategies, and it's also within our civil rights to exercise all of these strategies. So for as long as it's within the remit of the law and it's done as it should be done to carry across the message, it's something we endorse. And so yes, the strategy is to ensure we cover ground in almost all the areas where we know that there's heavy traffic, people commute and all of that. So that was the plan, and I'm happy we were able to achieve that.
You're happy you're able to achieve that. Earlier, I'm talking about today, your group issued a statement asking the National House of Chiefs to be clear as regards its stance on this menace. Aside from this message, how else do you want, particularly the president who made that statement regarding the blanket ban on all forms of mining, how else do you want him to clarify this stance?
Yes, I think the issue is that the president of the National House of Chiefs is saying the same thing we have been saying. And the whole idea is that we need to ensure we do the right thing. Government has consistently been saying that they are doing responsible mining. We know if we really were doing responsible mining, we wouldn't be where we are now. And that is why we are saying that the law should be enforced as it is. And one way of doing responsible mining is to ensure that you don't mine in river bodies. You don't mine in the immediate buffer of river bodies. You don't mine in forest reserves. And basically that's what we are saying. Nobody, either the organized labor, media coalition, CSOs, religious, nobody has said government should ban small-scale mining. Nobody has said that. So we just think that the president is taking our demand out of context. We are saying the same thing, but to go on air and saying that we are going to do mining and do mining as... I mean, we have been doing mining all of these years. If we're really responsible, we wouldn't be where we are now. So that means that the fact that our rivers are polluted to the extent that there's risk of importing water tells you everything we have been doing is very wrong, and we need to go back to the table and then start again. So there's no point coming on there and saying that we need to continue mining as we are doing. I mean, the status quo is not sustainable, and we need to change it.
Go back to the table and start again. Thank you very much, Daryl Bosu, Deputy National Director, Arocha Ghana, and member of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. Thank you so much for speaking to us, and we still stay on Galamsey-related matters because more than 40 Democracy Hub protesters arrested by the police have been slapped with various charges, including that of unlawful assembly. They are currently before the court. Lord Edwasare is our correspondent. He'll be joining us very shortly to bring us exactly what those charges are and moving forward. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7, some 13 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll tell you why trucks carrying essential goods and supplies are stuck at the Paga border, as well as go to Tema to tell you about that demonstration by freight forwarders and others. Don't go away.
Big money, money, money. Want more money, more moolah, more kudi, more sika, or more l'argent?
Yes.
Then win more moolah with 30 Ghana Cedis free credit when you play Game Park's Pick 1 and Pick 4 games for the first time.
How?
Just dial *946# or visit the nearest Game Park agent to play, get your first bet, and win on us with a 30 Ghana Cedi welcome bonus.
Oh, yes. It's all about the moolah.
Win more moolah with Game Park today. Go to GameParkGames.com for more information. Game Park is licensed by the NLA. Play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under 18 years.
And you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Thank you for staying. Now, nearly 100 cargo trucks transporting essential goods and supplies are stuck at the Paga border in the Upper East region. No details of the cause of the delay in movement of the trucks has been given yet, but its impact on food supply could be dire if the situation persists. Our Upper East regional correspondent Castro Senyala has been following this story. He joins us live from the Paga border, the town there. Castro, just tell us what you can see.
Right, Beatrice. So I am currently at the heart, in the heart of Paga, about some 500 yards from the border, where a lot of trucks carrying goods and other essential supplies are stuck here. We are not getting any communication from authorities here, but we understand, first of all, that it is due to traffic congestion at the border because of some security simulation exercise ongoing currently. Security agencies heads here have been speaking to me, but they want to remain anonymous. They explained to me that they are carrying out some simulation exercise together with the NADMO, and so for that matter, they have had to make these trucks back here. Look, more than 100 of them. I'm trying to engage some drivers who are mostly French and wouldn't want to speak to me no matter how I try, but we understand that this is going to impact negatively on the movement of food, goods, and other essential supplies to neighboring Burkina Faso. And for these drivers, they are much concerned that much delay may have impact on their activity.
So, Castro, when you talk about essential goods and supplies, are you able to tell us what exactly they are?
Most of the goods that these trucks are carrying are covered because of the rainy season, but I can see we have goods like rice, we have cement, we also have fuel tankers that are packed along the roadside. Clearly showing that there isn't that free way of movement for them. I've also been to the Paga border where I see that the inland port is filled to the brim with these heavy-duty trucks, which are waiting patiently for that command or instruction that they should begin to move. Let me state clearly that these are vehicles that are moving from Ghana into neighboring Burkina Faso. The interesting thing, however, is that vehicles that are moving from Burkina towards Ghana are moving in somehow smoothly, not very smoothly, but at least 2 or 3 of them are able to move into Ghana at a time. I beg your pardon. But those moving from Ghana to Burkina Faso simply aren't allowed to go through.
Keep an eye on this for us. Castro Senyola, he's our Upper East Regional Correspondent. Thank you for bringing us those details. Let's return to the court here in Accra, where I told you about the over 40 Democracy Hub protesters who are yet to be taken to court. Currently at the court premises, going to face charges there. Lord Adu is covering this for us. He joins us live on the line. Lord, we understand that you have a copy of the charge sheet. Are you able to tell us really what those charges are?
Right, Beatrice. So there are 2 charges that have been proffered against these protesters who are in police custody. Now, actually, 18 of them have been cited on the charge sheet, and the charges are conspiracy to commit crime, namely unlawful assembly and then unlawful assembly. As I speak to you, we're not exactly sure where they are being held. We got wind earlier that they'll be arraigned before the Achimota Circuit Court, and so that's where I'm stationed now. But been waiting for a couple of hours now, and there hasn't been anything as of yet. We saw earlier a statement released by the Democratic Hub indicating that the protesters, 40 of them, are being held at the police headquarters. But our sources also indicated that, I mentioned earlier, that they may be or they will be brought to the Achimota Circuit Court. And so I'm just on standby to see how things will pan out here. Now, what we are expecting is that their lawyers will be working out their bail conditions in the event that they are brought to the court and then their charges are proffered against them.
Lord, whilst you're there waiting for things to unfold, can you tell us about whether or not there are protesters there, how they are reacting to what's happening?
Well, because of the tricky nature of the situation, the protesters cannot readily identify which court to go and, for example, go and give their solidarity because they haven't littered across the various courthouses across the region. As I speak to you, there's no protester or anybody giving some solidarity to the persons who have been arraigned before the court, if any. And so it's pretty much quiet other than the regular court cases which are being heard at the Achimota Circuit Court. Nothing regarding the Democracy Hub demo protesters are here at the moment.
Thank you very much, Lord Adu, reporting live from the court in Accra. You're still here on the Midday News on Asri FM 92.7. Some 19 minutes past the hour of 12 to the Ashanti region now, and barely 2 months to the 2024 general election. Residents of Jetiase and Tadieso in the Seche Central District of that region are demanding the fixing of their road networks, threatening that they would not vote or they would actually vote against the current government if this is not dealt with. Now, the deplorable state of their roads, they say, make living in the area frustrating. Ibrahim Abubakar is monitoring this for us. He joins us live on the line. Ibrahim, just tell us more about the current state of the roads in question.
Well, Beatrice, the road is such that when it rains, it's difficult for motorists to be able to access it because apparently they've reshaped it a number of times to the extent that it has gotten to the large surface. So it is very slippery even if it does not rain. So usually when it rains, using it becomes challenging for them. And that route is not that far, just a kilometer of stretch from Mampong to JTRC, and also 2 kilometers from JTRC to Nsuta. And they said that over the years they have contributed a lot in the development of the country because this is a farming area and they have been paying taxes. And the main reason for them to pay tax is for them to also get some form of development in their area. And if they are not getting it, it means they either have to stop voting or also even stop paying their taxes at all. So this morning, they had to protest. They marched to the district office to present a petition to it just so they express their displeasure to the assembly. And some of the Agri residents have been speaking to me.
We have cassava, coconuts, cocoa, a lot of things are coming from JTRC to the central market. The government is getting revenue from JTRC, but our road is poorly. The teachers are refusing posting, and at some time they got accident. They pass through the bush area before coming to school. And if the government fails to come and do the road for us, I'll mobilize the people and we will vote against the sitting president and the entire the MP as well.
Enam ya kwan ya enyenti da bia ya na mfam ne akomampon edwa ahomache no nan ya so ya ne mama bag ne son sa na dia koduru nkwantia no afaka ya kọ enam ya kwan ya enyenti ya faka bia osigeti ase wa dia menko etiama ya bre.
And you heard there are some residents in those communities in the Ashanti region, Jetiase and Tadiaso in Setra Central District of the region, demanding that their roads are fixed before the December 7 general election. To the Tepma now, where there is a demonstration underway. Freight forwarders, custom house agents, coalition of trader association, and a host of other groupings are protesting against what they describe as exploitative and unfair practices by shipping lines. They cite imposition of exploitative fees, intentional delays, which allow the imposition of time-related penalties, increasing their charges, and the subsequent fares that they give to their customers. Joseph Armstrong Gold Alogbe is there. He joins us live on the line. Joseph, what more can you report from the ground?
Yeah, so Beatrice, currently the protest or the demonstration is still ongoing here on some principal streets in Tema, and the freight forwarders are moving from offices to offices. First, they went to the Trade Ministry office here and present them with a petition. They moved to the Transport Ministry, also presented the petition there. Currently, they are here at the Tema port headquarters also to present a petition to them, after which they will hold a press conference with the media. Their demand is very simple, where they claim they are being charged unfair charges, where they believe that the shipping authorities, if they are well regulated, all these things could be controlled and monitored. Let's take a listen to them.
My concerns, as you can see by card, look at the exchange rate. Okay. MSC, look at the exchange rate. Okay. Administrative charge, you're not supposed to be charged. Okay. And you are charging it, you've dollarized it, and look at the exchange rate you are collecting. And on top of that, you are doing that per container, which should not be. On top of that, you are also entering the clearing and forwarding business, which is supposed to be reserved for indigents. And all these combined, plus the inefficient services they give us, we say that enough is enough. They will intentionally delay you because they know that the delay in your demurrage.
How can you charge somebody cleaning fee once the person has imported, some items like mobile phones, and then mobile phones are cleared from the container, and then you are charging me cleaning fee? He brings the container to you empty. So now, exchange rate. The Bank of Ghana has a law that does not allow anybody to quote in dollars. They quote in dollars. Not only that, the next thing is they use their own exchange rate. I just can't understand why the government of Ghana, GRA Customs Division, has set an exchange rate of 15.3, and then the shipping lines have decided to arrogate to themselves powers. I don't know where they got those powers from, and set exchange rate 2 cities. About sometimes some of them are charging 17.3, 17.4 dollars per day on each container. This is completely unacceptable.
Obviously, some charged individuals that are taking part in this protest in Tema. Armstrong is still on the line with us. Armstrong, very quickly there. Are they petitioning any particular state or institution?
Yeah, so Beatrice, they petition the Ministry of Transport, they petition the Tema Ports and Harbours Authority, they've also petitioned the Trade Ministry, and they are still moving on with the protest and march. I don't know where exactly they are going next, but what I know is that after all is said and done, they will hold a press conference and brief the media on their next line of action. Earlier, when I spoke to some of them, they said that after some 14 days, if their petitions they are currently giving to the various agencies and ministries are not met, they will come up with another action, which will mean that they will have to head towards the Flagstaff House and demand that the presidency step in and ensure their demands are being met.
Thank you very much, Joseph Armstrong. There are flowing individuals who are protesting at the Tema port. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Some 27 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll go to the U.S. where the president and other world leaders are addressing the UN at the 79th UN General Assembly. Don't go away.
Big money, money, money. Want more money, more moolah, more kudi, more sika, or more l'argent?
Yes.
Then win more moolah with 30 Ghana Cedis free credit when you play Game Park's Pick 1 and Pick 4 games for the first time.
How?
Just dial *946# or visit the nearest Game Park agent to play, get your first bet, and win on us with a 30 Ghana Cedi welcome bonus.
Oh, yes. It's all about the moolah.
Win more moolah with Game Park today. Go to GameParkGames.com for more information. Game Park is licensed by the NLA. Play responsibly. Not suitable persons under 18 years.
And you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Now, world leaders are set to deliver their statement at the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly, which officially starts today. The General Assembly general debate begins amid growing calls for more international cooperation to tackle climate change, poverty, and inequality, while also addressing the fallout from the ongoing conflict. 3FM's Sani Abdurrahman is at the United Nations and joins us with what is to be expected. He joins us via video call. Sani, how's the weather like? I know it's early morning there, but what have you been gathering? Let's try whether Sani can hear us. Sani, what can you tell us from what's happening there?
If you can hear me, the debate will start in an hour time and is expected to be led by Brazilian President Lula da Silva, followed by Joe Biden, the U.S. President. And it's quite a big day here because all eyes will be on the UN to see what world leaders have in stock in terms of addressing the mounting crisis that we have seen around the world. Quickly, Joe Biden, from sources inside the White House, will be speaking on issues regarding his achievements. When he took power 4 years ago, he promised to restore America's leadership around the world. He will be talking about whether that has been achieved or not. Also, to feature prominently in his address today is issue regarding the situation in the Middle East. Gaza specifically, he'll be talking about what America has been doing to get a ceasefire deal, whether that has achieved the desired result, and we'll be responding to some of the criticism that America has received in terms of how it has handled the situation in Gaza. So a lot of security issues you'll be talking about in terms of the global economy. We'll also be talking about what America has been doing to help countries come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, you'll be speaking about the competition also with China, which has resulted in some sort of challenges in both the American economy and the Chinese economy. So if you ask me, largely that's what will be transpiring here.
Abdul Rahman, we'll have to come back to you later. Sani Abdul Rahman is a 3FM's correspondent currently at the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. And that's it for the news here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to srinews.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
Good afternoon. May I have your attention? The attention of Comfort Ghana that some individuals purporting to be working for and on behalf of the organization are using the name of the organization to perpetuate fraud and other forms of illegalities on suspected members of the public, particularly young women. In the past, such individuals have created posters, flyers, and quite recently a fake Comfort page or group, and are inviting unsuspecting young women to join the group. The communication platform has created to solicit money and other favors from young women, promising to assist them to receive Comfort Ghana scholarships, bursaries, funding, training, and other forms of support. Recently, some individuals are using Comfort's name to defraud people. They are falsely claiming to offer support such as school supplies and fees in exchange for money using numbers 053 099 0865 and 053 687 1539. Comfort Ghana is by this medium informing members of the public that it does not operate through agents and third parties, and calls on the public not to deal with individuals who purport to work for and on behalf without proper identification. We wish to state unequivocally that people do not have to pay to Comfort Ghana scholarships, bursary, funding, training, and other forms of support. All support application forms are also offered free of charge for interested party applications. The organization takes no responsibility for losses incurred as a result of dealings with fake agents and third parties. Members of the public who engage with such individuals do so at their risk. For further information, enquiries, and incident reporting, kindly contact Comfort Ghana on 0302 544 224 or 0302 544 225 or 037 202 4516 or 037 2022 169. Email should be sent to ghana@comfort.org.com. Thank you.
Hello there, good afternoon. This is Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, banks advocate for interest rate cuts as crucial monetary policy committee deliberations commence today amid downward inflation trajectory. We'll hear from President of Ghana Association of Banks, John Kofi Adomako.
To do because interest rates are too high.
And Ghana Food and Beverage Manufacturers urge GRA to cover costs of new excise tax stamp machines. We'll hear from Association's Executive Chairman John Awuni.
They can bring the machines to the facilities. Nobody can resist that these machines should not be installed. But to say that we should buy these machines and throw away the machine that we are currently using is just something that we find unacceptable.
My name is Manu. Afful will bring you details of our headlines and many other stories shortly. Thanks so much for your time. We'll go straight to our first story. And the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana is set to begin its series of meetings to review the health of the economy. The meeting, which begins today, will conclude with a possible adjustment to the policy rate. Ahead of the formal announcement on Monday, September 30, 2024, the following News Desk report examines the possible outcomes of this week's meeting. One key factor likely to weigh heavily on the committee's deliberations is the notable decline in inflation. Since March 2024, the central bank has maintained the policy rate at 29% in a bid to mop up excess liquidity in the economy to control inflation. The MPC's primary responsibility is to assess economic indicators and make informed decisions to ensure price stability and sustainable economic growth. Recent data from the Ghana Statistical Service shows that inflation rate unexpectedly slowed to a 29-month low in August 2024. With the consecutive declines in inflation rates experienced throughout 2024, from the 23.5% in January to 20.4% in August 2024, there are high expectations among business organizations and some financial experts that the Bank of Ghana may consider revising the policy rate downwards. However, some financial experts also argue that the monetary policy will maintain the policy rate at 29% until it ensures that inflation is sustainably on a path of decline. While the inflation rate has been trending downward, it remains significantly higher than the central bank's medium-term target of 8% with a margin of error of 2 percentage points. There could be far-reaching implications for borrowing costs, investments, and overall economic activity if the policy rate is adjusted. Market analysts and stakeholders will keenly await this announcement as it is expected to provide insights into the Bank of Ghana's strategy to navigate the economic landscape and strike a balance between inflation control and economic expansion amid the ongoing IMF economic program. That was a 3 Business News Desk report. Meanwhile, President of the Ghana Association of Banks, John Kofi Adu, has expressed optimism about a potential reduction in interest rates. He argues that lower interest rates would benefit banks as many customers are currently unable to access loans due to the high cost of borrowing. According to John Adu, with inflation on a downward trajectory, it is logical for the Bank of Ghana's Monetary Policy Committee to follow suit and reduce the policy rates, which stands at 29%.
Interest rates, we hope we see a drop. We've seen what the Fed has done. Does it affect us directly? Maybe no, but ultimately it does affect us the way things go. So we are the banks, we are hoping interest rates will come down. We hope the Fed, we hope the MPC will drop interest rates. Inflation pressures are also seem to be reducing. And so we think we are getting into good space. And then if interest rates do come down, look, it's good for we the banks. Okay, I have so many customers I cannot bank today because interest rates are too high. Okay, but I'll be able to extend into that. I do believe that inflation will continue to come down towards the end of the year and into 2025. We'll see a much more stronger reduction in inflation, and therefore interest rates will also follow. I'm very confident that post 2024, going 2025-26, I'm very confident that we will come back fully on track.
That was President of the Ghana Association of Banks, John Kofi Adu. Away from that, food and beverages manufacturers in Ghana are pushing back against the Ghana Revenue Authority's directive to install new tax stamp machines in their manufacturing plants. The Food and Beverages Association of Ghana argues that introducing these new machines, touted as more efficient by the GRA, would put an additional financial strain on businesses already struggling with economic challenges. According to Executive Chairman John Awuni, members are willing to cooperate with the GRA if the authority covers the cost of the new machines.
Recently, the Food and Beverage Association and its members were engaged by the Ghana Revenue Authority. And the engagement had to do with the fact that they wanted to introduce new machines to replace the machines that we use currently for the excise tax stamp. We think that if you are bringing in new ones, it should be at the cost of the GRA. Because, like I said, it's like electricity. You want to bring in, you enhance your revenue collection. So if you are changing meters, nobody can ever fight you that bring in these new meters. They can bring the machines to the facilities. Nobody can resist that these machines should not be installed. They have to be brought in because we continue to recognize that we are partners in development. But to say that we should buy these machines and throw away the machines that we are currently using is just something that we find unacceptable. And we made this very known to them in behind the scenes. And we want this discussion to be very clear that let the GRA go ahead and buy the older machines and they can bring them in. We're ready to accept them.
Executive Chairman of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, John Awuni, there. Before we go, the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, is pushing for the Volta River Authority, VRA, to adopt a more efficient power generation mix to bring down electricity costs for industries. According to AGI President Dr. Humphrey Ayim-Darke, this move would not only make industries more competitive, but also create opportunities for Ghana's youth.
To create jobs for our own. And in that context, as you do the value addition, be aware that our aim is to create jobs, create wealth in our context in Ghana, and share. Today, the cost of power is still high. Our prayer is that with the effort of hydro, and we know the hydro mix currently is one of the significant input in the energy mix, and that's drawing the cost of power down. How do we balance it with the IPPs?
You heard President of AGI, Dr. Humphrey Ayim-Darke there. Well, that's it for Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Manu. Afful. Do stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next with Black Rasta.
Good afternoon. It is time to announce this afternoon's winning numbers for Game Park's Pick 4 and Pick 1 lottery games. Ready to find out if you are a lucky winner? For Pick 4, the winning numbers are 0, 1, 0, and 7. For Pick 4, the winning numbers for this afternoon's draw are 0, 1, 0, and 7. And now for Pick 1, the winning number is 23. The winning number for Pick 1 is 23. Congratulations to all our winners. Remember to maximize your chances of winning. Consider choosing Pick 4 Mix, where you win once your 4 numbers are drawn in any order, or buy Pick 4 Straight or Direct, where you win 4 numbers in the exact order as the numbers drawn. Remember, with Game Park Limited, you can win more moolah. Play again in our next draw, 6 p.m. for more chances to win big. Thank you.
Imagine a place where voices matter, where every corner, every street,